Okay, now that it's not over, it still has a part 2. We will have it next time. So, Mr. Gashoka, kindly welcome.
Okay, good morning, all of us. My name is Charles Gashoka.
It's still okay.
Allow me to introduce Power Monday, and then the speaker, you can take it up. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Power Monday is a platform where people of like mind, we meet every Monday, and we are always able to get a speaker who trains us and gives us insight on specific industry of what is happening. It's also a place whereby we are also able to network during different occasions that are organized outside the platform. And I think the key thing for Power Monday is a networking forum, mainly for our professional job and to create a market for our products. And that's how I can be able to introduce Power Monday for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charles. Indeed, that's who Power Monday is, and we are really grateful that we are able to be here every Monday, except the ones for public holidays here in Kenya. And we started with only around 5 people, but now we normally log in up to the maximum limit of the platform that we are in, that is WhatsApp, and we get to 100. And we are looking forward to expanding that capacity to have more people log in. So thank you so much for that. Allow me introduce the speaker for today. And our speaker for today is Daniel Njoroge. He's a seasoned digital payment expert and a strategic leader with a strong track record in fintech, payment, and business development across companies and like SwitchLink Africa, SasaPay, and InterSwitch East Africa. His expertise spans digital payments, customer experience, strategic leadership through innovation and partnerships. Currently, he's a CEO of SwitchLink Africa, and Daniel excels in strategic execution and operational excellence. He holds an MBA and executive certifications driven by vision to transform Africa financial services through technology and customer-centric solutions, fostering financial inclusions. So that is the person we are listening to today, and we are so delighted to have him here on Power Monday. So welcome so much, Daniel, and speak to your people. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing? Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Good morning to you.
Yes, we can hear you. Okay,
Fantastic. I'm very happy to be here this morning, and I hope you are all well. I was trying to unmute myself and it was not allowing me, and I was wondering, why am I logging the powers? Very good. I'm happy to be here this morning. Very good to be living my dream as it were. And I am glad to hear this has been ongoing for very long, and I usually see it, but I've never had the privilege of being a speaker. So I take this as an honor, and thank you everybody for giving me the opportunity. As they have said, my name is Daniel, and I will be putting up my screen soon. I hope it's work. I don't know what has happened to the machine. It's just tried to wake up. I've not had the privilege of being here before, and I was invited to speak about this topic that I love. Allow me to just confirm again. Now you can hear me.
Yes, you're okay.
Yes.
Excellent. So the topic of the day is about this topic that I would say is what I do for a living, and that is in payments. And the question was how payments interact with our lives and how payments, especially with a bias to international payments. And I thought that it's actually a very wide topic, you know. It may take me a whole day to actually take. I was joking with someone that this is a topic I usually take a whole day to train, but I'm going to try and summarize it in just about 15 or so minutes and on what it does. So I'm still trying to put up my screen. I don't know what's the struggle, but I will keep doing it until it happens. And
where do you have a different? Have you logged in twice or so? Because you should be able to share unless it's a technical challenge on your side.
yeah, it's a technical challenge. I think my machine just decided to hang
Okay.
halfway, but I'll get there.
Okay.
Would you be having your presentation on a phone so that you can share? We present it for you.
Sure. Let me try that in just a few as I continue.
Okay.
So even as that happens, I will take you guys through what the payments itself is. And from the very simple word pay, you know, we are talking of being able to pay others, to give others money. And it may sound very, very complex, or it may sound very, very easy, but it is something everybody does almost on a daily. Some of you maybe did some shopping today, others are going to work and they are paying. The others paid via cash, others paid the matatu via M-Pesa, others passed via the fuel station and paid. So payments is a day-to-day thing. In fact, at the center of every business transaction, there is always this fundamental question of how shall the payment happen? So let's say I'm selling at a kiosk, I'm selling goods. There are two things that are going in mind of the buyer and the seller. The buyer is wondering, how shall I be paid? And they have got the honors of telling the customer, this is how I want the money to come into my business. On the other side, there is the issue of the customer also is wondering, how shall I pay? And it depends on where their money is. So technically, the money moving from whether it's in a bank account, whether you have it in your pocket, whether it is in your mobile phone, how does it then move from where it is and enter into the business shop? That is basically how payment happen. And even the business itself, once the money has come in, they also have obligations to pay. They need to pay suppliers, they need to pay staff. So it is an ongoing thing, and it facilitates trade from that perspective. It is a matter of how shall I get paid and how shall I pay out? And hence, if I may repeat, fundamentally speaking, payment is at the center of every single business transaction. It is at the center of how trade happens. It is at the center of how transactions happen, how people interact with each other, whether you are at home, whether you are including in church. The question is, how can I pay my sadaka? How can I pay my 10%? So someone is going to start to stand in front there and explain, today we are going to be fundraising for XYZ, and you can come and pay via M-Pesa, or you can bring the cash into the basket, or you can write a check to the church. You can see payment is happening from all corners of our lives. But deeper, the question is, payment is usually a function of a bigger thing that is called financial services. Sometimes it's hard to understand payments if you have not understood the bigger picture of what are financial services. And if I may summarize financial services in less than in just a few minutes, the function of financial services is divided into 5 major things. The very first one in financial services is what we call savings. It's a matter of being able to hold money. And you have got very many financial institutions, all they do things. You take your money, take it to an institution like a bank, and they are going to keep it safe for you. In fact, they are supposed to charge you a fee for safekeeping of your money. That is technically savings. In the practice, every time banks take money from you or SACCOs take money from you for safekeeping, they don't keep it in their safes as it were. They let it out. And that brings us to the next function of the next function of financial services, which is lending, credit. Credit is the function where a financial institution takes your money and gives it out to others, or gives that money to you from others, and they charge you a fee for it, either interest or a fee or a profit if it's Islamic banking. So it is more offering some money so that you can go and do some business with it and return it back with a profit on top of it. That's credit. The other function of financial services is what we call investment. This is about wealth creation. This is about where you take your money, take it to a bank, and tell the bank or that institution, it could be a SACCO, it could be a commercial bank, it could be an investment bank, and tell them, take this money, and I'm going to come for it after 6 months, and I want you to pay me to compensate me for holding it. Because me and you know that when they have that money, they are actually using it to generate funds. So you will hear things like fixed deposit. This is where you go and you are paid an interest in it. Or you take your money and put it into an investment bank, and they buy treasury bonds. They go and put it into government bonds or unit trusts and so on. That is a function of investments. When we speak investment, therefore, it is where you take some money, put it into that institution, and they pay you. Remember now, on credit, it was you paying back with interest. On this one, it is the institution paying you back. That is investment. The next one is about insurance. Insurance technically is supposed to reinstate you in case of a problem to where you are. It protects life, it protects health, and it protects it protects health, life, and property. So it is the ability to give, how do I put it, to save you from a risk, from something that could happen, from something that could come and put your investments down. So if you have a house, if you have a phone, if you have something that you love and you be at a bad place if it got lost, you come and insure it. So ideally, all they do is take so many money from so many people, put it into a pool, and in case one of those people has a problem, they compensate them. That is the insurance. And if you think about the first four, we are talking of take your money, give it to institution, or the institution gives you that money back with an interest and so on. So you can see at the end of the day, there is movement of money. And now that brings us to the last financial services function, which is one we are discussing today, called payments. Payments, therefore, technically is the about of how does the money move from one end to the other. How do you debit money from one section to the other? How does the money move from your bank account to the bank account of the other person? That is technically payments. And what are the forms of payments? When you talk of making a payment, top of mind, there are usually several ways of doing that payment. There is what we call the cash payment. This is where you have got money in your hand and you go and pay. That's a form of payment. There is what now we call digital payments. Digital payments is where now you are using a digital tool, like your mobile phone, like internet, and you are able to log into a certain platform and be able to instruct your source of money. The money could be seated in a bank, the money could be seated in a mobile wallet like M-Pesa, and instruct that institution to take that money from your account to somebody else. Let's say, for example, you are paying school fees. You are instructing your bank to move the money from your bank account and put it into the school's bank account. So the other way then we say of money movement is what we call now the bank transfer. The money is moving from the bank to another bank. The other way of making payment is what we call the international money transfer. This is where now the movement of money is no longer local. It is moving from local to another country. It's from Kenya to Uganda. It is from Kenya to China. It is from America to Kenya. That is money movement across the borders. The money is now changing currencies. One person, the money is in USD, they want it delivered in Kenya shilling. Or the money is here in Kenya shilling, you want to pay for Mituba goods in Uganda in Uganda shilling. That is now another form of money movement. And basically it is international and it facilitates trade. Then the other way of making payments is what we call, technically it's what we call the trade instruments. So it is usually used for very big business transactions. These transactions are happening over the seas. So I am a trader in Kenya and I'm doing business with someone in Japan to bring in 100 cars in Kenya. That bank does not know me. I also don't know that customer. Maybe we have never even met. So we pick people or banks that know each other, that can trust each other, and those banks are the ones that are going to do that transaction on our behalf, and that now becomes the trade finance instrument that allows that transaction to happen. So you can see therefore now, when we now come to international movement of money, the game changes completely. And the question is, how then do you choose which one to use? And because the topic was specifically for that, allow me to dig deeper into how does money move internationally? And then we are going to speak into why should even the money move internationally? The first thing is, how does money move? Most of you maybe are used to something we call SWIFT or TT, telegraphic transfer. And that is where you go to your bank, give them some instruction, and tell them, I want to pay my supplier who is in China. I want to pay $50,000, and this is my money in Kenya shilling. So the first thing you do with the bank is now discuss on how shall the money change from Kenya shillings and go into dollars. Then they tell you, okay, fill this form. Tell us why you are moving this money. You fill some forms. You give them the proof of that you are doing legal business. You are not doing monkey business, and then they are satisfied that they can be able to transfer that money for you, and now they send it for you. So it will be a bank transfer to another bank transfer, but now not local. It is an international transfer from one bank to the other. That is the SWIFT. Then, and that happens a lot, especially when you are doing trade functions, trade transactions. It happens when you are doing also very big ticket transactions. And it happens also between financial institutions that are very well established.
It's breaking again, Daniel. Said something.
Okay, where did you lose me?
Trade finance, where you are just explaining how you've gone to the bank, you've filled the forms, and now they are going to do the payments, something like that. Yes. So from there on.
Okay. Okay, so I had finished explaining how the trade finance happens. And after trade finance, now what has become also very popular in money transfer is what we call the international money transfer companies. International money transfer companies have been there, like MoneyGram, Western Union. Most of you have had those for very many years. But now there have come others that are now not traditionally how it used to be is someone is in the US, they send you money, you will get an SMS or something, and
as Daniel works on his network, it's also good to drop and then rejoin so that it can pick automatically. So I had reminded you to put your questions on the chat session, or if you'll be able to speak, you can prepare your questions. I trust the speaker is almost finalizing, but it's like 14 minutes to the top of the hour. Emily is saying he can switch
Yeah,
off video.
Just pick it from where you started. How traditionally whatever this MoneyGram and the rest have been doing it, and then now the new system.
please confirm you can see it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can see your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not going to put the video on so that we try and save the bundles or whatever they are. So I now have to jump on this. You already, of course, introduced. My name is Daniel. I am a family man before I become a career guy. That's my family right there. I hope the slides are moving. JP.
They are moving well. Good.
Fantastic. And I said we started by saying I'm a CEO of a company called SwitchLink, where we do many financial services. The topic of the day, of course, is payments and how it happens. I have explained in depth what that means. I started by explaining also the functions of financial services, from savings to credit to investment to insurance, and what each of them does and why each of them is actually important. And then I may just speak a minute for this on why, what are the reasons why payments is important. Very quickly is that it enables facilitation of trade and commerce. I think I spoke to that in depth. The financial inclusion is actually why I was explaining the issues of credit, the issues of investment. All those things enable people to get to be financially included, hence why payments facilitates them. Also, the issues of monetary policy implementation. Every time the government want to change anything on payment, on the economy, they tend to look a lot at what is happening, how are people paying, ability to pay, availability of cash in the economy. So payments plays a very big role in giving them some insights of what is happening on the ground, how is the society. There is also the aspect of the society growth in social aspects. This is where I was talking of things like church, even things that are not necessarily business, still requires the ability to pay. I was speaking to some young men recently, and they said one of the problems they are facing is that the moment you meet a lady in a few, you owe them 2K for urgently. So you can see even at the level of social issues, payment is still an issue. And then around the payments, as those things are happening, facilitating trade, financial inclusion, there's a lot of employment creation. You can think today how many people work for banks, how many people work for, let's say, M-Pesa, how many people work for all these fintechs. So wealth creation, poverty reduction, and so on. I took you guys through what are the types of payments, from cash to bank transfers to mobile wallets to digital payments to being able to pay with a card. There is now this emerging one called crypto, and now then cross-border payments is where now I had reached, and I was explaining how that now happens. Question would be, why does cross-border payments matter? Why should we even pay attention? Ladies and gentlemen, it is big business. The money that is moving across the borders for different countries is put at $801 billion by 2023. That is by World Bank. Kenya alone, the money that came into Kenya from other countries is put at 4.1 B in 2023 remittance. I've not seen the one for 2024 yet. But 2023 alone, and this number has been rising. So it means guys are literally moving money across the borders. In fact, because of that, and because of the Kenyans that have gone out there to work and are sending money back home, this international remittance into Kenya has become top forex earner. Kitambo, we used to have to say it is tea, agriculture. In fact, the word was agriculture is the backbone of the Kenya economy, because it is after exporting tea we used to get US dollars. Right now, the people bringing dollars into Kenya are actually the transactions that are coming through the international money transfer. Then think imports. We are a net importer as a country. The amount of money getting out of Kenya to go import goods, be it rice, be it clothes, the mituba, be it the spare parts, be it the manufacturing materials, and so on, it is in the trillions of shillings. And that is according to the Kenya Bureau of statistics. So that is why we cannot ignore this space. And especially because I'm also speaking to entrepreneurs and all, these numbers tells you a story. You could look at them and ask, wait a minute, could there be an opportunity in here? And now this is where we were. How does the international payment happen? There is the SWIFT I explained at depth. There is the trade finance instruments I had also explained them. There is now the international money remittance companies that I was explaining. MoneyGram, Western Union, and now many other digital ones that have come up. We run a business that is also doing the same called Upesi Money Transfer. I will be showing you that in a short while. And finally, the very, very, very recent one, which is totally misunderstood by many, is crypto. Do you know you can now get paid from Dubai, from US, into something called Bitcoin, in something called stablecoins. Stablecoins are different from Bitcoin in that stablecoins are usually backed by a currency like USD. Now we have got things like USDT. This is a totally new different topic. Maybe we'll have to come back and now speak to it specific. It's a very enticing one. But how is it facilitating trade? You are in US and I am in Kenya. I want you to pay me for a house, for example. You are buying a house in Kenya and you're in the US. Your money is in USD, you convert it to something we call USDT. And on this other side, the transfer between USD and USDT is a matter of minutes, seconds actually. I will have my USDT in seconds on this other side. And then I'm going to do something we call off-ramping. Now I'm going to convert it from USDT into Kenya shillings or into USD locally now in a matter of seconds. It's about crypto. Very interesting topic, but also a very important way of moving money. It is much cheaper, and I'm going to show you even the speed and so on. But with so many ways of making payments, how do you choose which one works for you? These are some of the things that you take attention to. How secure is this payment? Remember, we are dealing with money, sometimes very big ticket money. How stable is it? Can I trust it to get the money the time needed? Because remember, we say the payments facilitates people's businesses, people's ways of life. You could be sending money for a hospital procedure in India. You want to be sure that once you initiate the payment, it actually gets to the hospital within good time. How well are you taken care of as a customer if a problem arises? Customer experience. How costly or not is it? There is also something we call time to value delivery. If I am a business and I use this particular way of payment, how quickly do I actually get that money in my bank account? There is another word here that's a jargon called interoperability. If I picked a certain way of making a payment, how can it accept totally many different ways? Like this simple platform can pay with a card, can be paid with a bank, can be paid with a card. That's interoperability. And finally, especially for business people, there's something we call value addition. And not only for business people, even for retail traders like me and you, retail users. You want a payments method that somehow, the more you use it, the more it adds value to you. For example, you use your card, they tell you are getting loyalty points that you can later redeem. It might attract you to do that. Or you're using a payment method and they tell you, use this one. And once you use it, we see your transaction and we give you a business loan. That's value addition. So you can pick any of this and say, okay, to me, what matters most to me is the cost. I'm going for the cheapest. What matters to me the most? I want a loan. So I'm going for someone who will be able to give me a loan after this. But very quickly, this table is showing us the different types of international payments and how quickly they deliver that money, whether it is costly or not, as I was explaining in the previous slide, that matters, and what are their advantages. So could I put to you guys, ladies and gentlemen, that sometimes it's very hard to tell you that the best way of sending money is SWIFT, because I need to understand what matters most to you. Like SWIFT transfer, for example, is very secure. It is known across the world, but it takes long, 1 to 5 days. Someone else will say, I want it the quickest possible. I'll say, okay, crypto works. But now there is the issue of it is not well understood by many, and maybe many may not accept it. Another one will say, I want to download an app for a fintech that's going to do the transfer. All those things, like for example, now Wave International used to send money for free. Our very own company called Upesi is sending money to Uganda, for example, right now for free. And it is fast, it is quick. So all these are factors that you consider when you're trying to do a payment method. Now, how can we help? I've told you all these things. I've told you this can do payments. Sometimes you don't have to really, it should not be your problem to think what to do. We started by saying, I run a company called SwitchLink Africa, but we are a member of many groups of companies that you can see on your screen. So if you have a payment query, you have a payment need that is a local payment, SwitchLink will help you to do that. If you want to send money out of the country, or if you're a fintech and you want to send money into country, we bring you the technical ability to do that through a company called Upesi, also part of us. If you are a businessman and you usually send goods, import goods from China, from Dubai, and so on. Na tuseme labda umekwama, we do what we call cargo financing. So what you do, you want to import a container worth 10 million Kenya shillings. You have got 8 million Kenya shillings. Umekwama na 2 million. We come and top it up through Gao Credit, and we facilitate that movement of money from Kenya through Upesi, and we deliver your goods. We have a company called Tracking Hub. It helps you to track your goods from the point of they are coming from to the point they deliver them into your warehouse. And finally, all these things I had explained in the financial services is that they require insurance. You require them to be safe. And that's why we also have an insurance company called Rusent Insurance. You may not be able to get all these things, or you may not even know what to do where. And that's why I'm making it easy for you. If you have a question, just dial my number or drop me an email. It's on your screen. And then I'm able to guide you on this is what exactly happens. As I have explained in just the previous slide, it's very hard to just tell you, this is the best, or this is not good, without understanding your need. I hope by now you realize the payment method to choose for international payment is highly dependent on what you need, what is the business transaction, do you need a loan or not, and so on and so forth. And now in summary, this is what I've been telling you from the start, that borderless remittances enables life, enables movement of trade, enables people to live, enables people to build wealth, enables people to do business. Being a Live Your Dream topic today, I am telling you, therefore, that payments can actually be a way of enabling your dreams. Technically, directly or indirectly, you need payment to live your dreams. Of course, it's me. And I wanted to mention here that my life philosophy is that I live to enable people achieve their level best. So if you are in business and you want a payments platform to help you achieve your best, to live your dream as it were, that is why I am here for you. And I said before then that before I go to work, before I go to pay, I am a family man with 3 beautiful daughters and a beautiful wife. CEO of SwitchLink, where we transact, borrow, insure, invest, and remit. I run a business that is just one of the many functions of finance, and we aggregate all of them in one single platform. Payment is an important core of the economy, from facilitating trade to wealth creation to poverty reduction. It's a very important function. You cannot do without payments, I tell you that. There are many types of payments, and they are more emerging, from the traditional ones, from cash to bank transfer, to crypto, to online payments, to cross-border payments. They will keep changing, and we keep changing with time. The international one that we are focusing on today is critical, it's big business, because as a country, we are a net importer. We need to figure out how to pay those other people of the world that are supplying us with goods. But even Kenyans in the diaspora are sending money locally in their billions of shillings. So it's a big deal to think about. And the types of payments are many, from SWIFT to trade finance instruments, to international money remittance companies, to crypto and stablecoins. How do you choose the right method? It's up to you. What matters to you most? Is it security? Is it time to value? Is it value addition? Is it cost? That's now a choice you make. And that's where we come and help you. If you are doing international one, again, the same factors will come. And on your screen right now are the different ways of making those payments and the advantages and the disadvantages of each. And it does not matter which one you want. We are able to help you easily make that decision through our group of companies. And you don't need to speak to each of them. You just need to speak to one guy, and that guy is called Daniel, whose number is on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the hiccups, thank you so much for listening. I am happy to have had the opportunity. Asante.
Wow, thank you so much, Daniel, for such a brief and yet so detailed presentation. And also, it's so good to note that you are able even to speak through your presentation even without having it. And that shows the mastery of the presentation that you had and your preparedness. We are so glad that you made it today and you managed to explain that to us. The summary was so informative, and I'm really glad that you can relate and you are well knowledge on these particular types of payment, especially the international payments. I would like to welcome Power Monday to give us this questions, the participants to
I
say
have
any
one question.
questions they
I have,
have.
yeah,
Okay.
while people can put questions if you have in the chat, then they'll be read and faster, though time is gone. But I wanted to ask Daniel, sometimes, well, people even in Kenya, we send school fees outside. We send other things other than just uh, the purchase or the money that we are using to import other things, and it hits the account earlier. I've also I've also experienced where people are sending money, but it takes like a month. I was wondering, what payment method are they doing? Yeah, are they using, or is it just the bottlenecks between the banks or what? Because from the moment payment, they say, oh, they've already released the payment, you're checking, it takes like, oh, later, maybe a month, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, that's when it hits the account. Where could the delay be, or what could they be using? And more so from Europe. The other thing is, the other question I want to ask has to do with that USD whatever, changing them to USDT and then changing them to whichever the other currency. The moment you change it on this other side, how do you cash it by the end of the day? Do you need some specific account, or are there people who cash it for you? And what is what therefore does it mean in terms of cost? Does it mean some other people are now eating money because they are going to exchange for you from whichever digital to the local currency, or the currency you can use in your local country? Those are two questions.
Excellent questions. So I put back this slide just to answer your questions on the issue of why does it take long and all. It's about inefficiencies in the financial system. So let me explain to you typically what would happen. You have walked into your local bank called PP Limited, given them the money, given them the instruction. They are surprise, and to really burst our bubbles. Our local banks are so small in the international space that they are not even known. So what happens is that if you want to pay money from a local bank, like a small bank, or even some of the largest banks we have in Kenya, are not known internationally. So what they have done is to go for guys we call like correspondent banks. So they will now be, it is like they open a bank account with another international bank out there. So they're now a customer of another bank. And anytime they want money paid out, it is that bank they instruct to. They have a relationship manager just like you to now initiate that payments for you. All that requires, remember, these are people in different time zones. You are initiating it through the traditional ways. You write an email. It requires some follow-ups. That is why if you look at the very first one here, the SWIFT transfer, traditionally it took even as high as 5 days. And remember, these are 5 working days. Sometimes they could be more because maybe between the time you send, some of the days are holidays in their country, others are weekends. It can go for long and long and long. But that is why now innovation happens. Because of that traditional inefficiencies, people now came up and started saying, oh, why can't I send money instantly? And hence why the fintechs that came in, they've been sending money very fast. If you see, they can credit your bank account from in Kenya in matter of seconds. So it is just those inefficiencies that are there. And you know, sometimes when the biggest businesses are very big, things just get slow and so on. But also there is the issue of money laundering issues, compliance. Those banks out there, they are very, very strict in those checks and all. So before they even do the screening, where is this money going? What is it for? And remember, they are handling thousands and thousands of transactions every day. So there's always bound to be some delays here and there. That will be the very easy way of answering your question. Question number 2 is on crypto. So you are sent USDT. So what do you do with them? The word we use here is off-ramping. You remember off-ramping when you are driving, you are on a highway. There is usually some place you get and there is a place you can off-ramp. You can use it now to exit the road. You are now exiting the crypto world into the normal fiat world. We call it fiat. The Kenya shillings, the USD, that is the fiat world. You can now exit from crypto to fiat. There are some things we call the crypto exchanges. You may have had an award like Binance. It is just like a marketplace where you go and say, hey, I have 10 USDTs here. Who has Kenya shillings? How much are you exchanging it for? And you get it. But it's much, much cheaper. If you look at the crypto level here, it is borderless, it is fast, and the cost is extremely low. Relatively to any other here, the crypto one is usually very, very cheap. But also there is now the issue of instability. You have Bitcoin, today it is worth $1, tomorrow it's worth $100. So that is another factor you need to consider. But if you're using stablecoins, they're usually backed by a currency. So the instability is now stopped. If you listen to me, there is always a pro and con. So innovation happens into people trying to fix the cons. But even as they fix the cons, they bring about another problem that another now person comes up and tries to fix. It is a continuously innovation world. And that's why we have a life anyway, to keep thinking, to keep innovating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I don't know whether you still have time to tackle 2 more questions on the chat session.
Yeah, I can quickly take them in less than a minute. Do the recipient of the money also have the responsibility to explain? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on your bank's terms and conditions, and also the ticket size. If today you suddenly got 20 million in your account, and most of the time you usually get 100 bob in that account, the bank needs to know what happened. So yeah, I think that's how it will. I can summarize it. And statutorily, like when you're sending money out, if you're sending anything more than 10,000 USD, you have to explain what it is for, or 10,000 USD equivalent. So, and each and every bank will have its own terms and conditions, their compliance, their risk. They will define exactly what they require. For fintechs, do you have a similar product like Stripe? Yes, we do. That is what SwitchLink actually does. We enable digital collection of money from customers, and we are also now building towards accepting cards, payments, and so on. So if you have such a need, please reach out, we'll help you. Your number, please, 0720-980-104. I had displayed it on the screen. I hope you saw it. Does SwitchLink have its own stablecoin? Not yet. I will use your ad yet, but it's food for thought. And if not, which one do you recommend for international inbound? I am very hesitant to recommend a specific one. Just check out all the ones that are available and check their pros and cons. But we can have that conversation offline. Why I'm not recommending any is I am not in charge of any of them. I cannot really speak to their security and all. And you know, it's about high risk, high return. But they cut across. They are Bitcoin, they are USDT, they are USD, ziko mingi. Hata watu wana build some their own coins around. You're a great teacher. Asante sana. Great, please. Thank you very much. You're sending money with Grey account safe. Again, it is a yes and a no based on are you sure of who you are sending to? But I always advise going through regulated platforms. That way you are sure that the person you are doing business with is legit. I always advise going with regulated entities. What is the most secure platform to make payment for online jobs? Again, there are so many. It depends on the ticket sizes. It depends on the speed and so on. Very good. I think the others are asking about my number. I'll just drop it on the chat box also. You can always WhatsApp me or something. Thank you very much. I've finished in less than a minute.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and that was timely, and you've handled that very well. For the interest of time, I'd request one of us to give us a vote of thanks on behalf of Power Monday to our speaker today.
Yeah, on behalf of the team today, we are very, very grateful. That was a very wonderful presentation. Some of us who even fear issues of finances, especially across the border, are now empowered. And we feel a bit more comfortable now dealing with issues of international, interborder, finance. Thank you very much. Sorry about the hitches with the internet. Even mine was on and off. But I'm sure that with the presentation was so captivating that many of us will even go for the recorded version so that we can catch up with whatever we may have missed. Thank you very much, my namesake, and be blessed. Have a good week and enjoy your Easter holiday in advance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Odhiambo, and Pole sana Melvin for that hitch. It was an ambush, and I know you always do it great here. So thank you so much, Power Monday team. Let's have somebody to close for us with a word of prayer before we open it up for networking.
We may need to announce that next Monday is a public holiday, and so we will not have a session. It's Easter Monday. Every public holiday, we don't hold a session. So, and it seems like many people have gone for holiday. Today we were just about 50 something. Yes, they're already in holiday mood. Number two, our next activity will be on 24th of May. It will be a charity. We go to the home in call it Precious Blood Family, Children's Family, and it will be on a Saturday in the afternoon between 3 and 5, just to go and interact with the kids there. They are reclaimed from the streets and they are being rehabilitated and they're being supported by the nuns there. And we will start announcing to accept any donation, and people who may want to go there and also share with them a thought, mentoring and things like that. So it's good to have that in mind. Otherwise, happy Easter in advance.
Thank you so much, Paul Peter. And also to let you know that during our next children's home visit, the boys and girls there promised us to do their international play. This one has no restrictions. This one will be presented to us, and it's it's one that went all the way to the nationals. So if you'd like to see that great art of the children at Riruta Children's Home, don't miss out to be part of the participants. We can have someone to pray for us.